we have started the May series in futures, but the in spot we are still in the calendar month of April, which has 2 more sessions. So what we'll do today is we'll just start off. We'll have a look at what we are doing on the monthly time frame in the spot chart, and then we'll have a quick review of the weekly last week's chart, and then we'll move on to today's auction, both in spot as well as in futures, and we'll have a look at how we can use the two window modes and what are the combinations we can use to have good trading setups seen in one browser itself. So on screen right now is the Nifty Spot monthly chart. I'll just make it full screen so that we get little more space. So we have discussed on this how we have formed an outside bar on the monthly, and this is a neutral extreme profile which is developing in the month of April. We started with a probe lower. 7th of April, we made that gap down and new lows for the month, where we tested the June responsive buying tail, and then we have made this huge up move. And what this up move has done now is we are consolidating and we are forming a balance at the top. And it is likely that into 30th of April, the POC of the month can shift towards the top. So that will become our reference. We have already marked the rollover point for the May series, which is at 24348. So that is already marked, and that is where we were most of the day today. You can see this is today's profile, and the POC of today is right where the rollover point was marked on Thursday. So we give a lot of importance to the rollover point both in spot as well as in future, and we have a upside bias if we stay above the rollover point and a downside bias if we are below the rollover point. So on the monthly time frame, this is a neutral extreme profile. We are waiting for 2 more sessions so that what we can carry forward apart from this rollover point reference would be the POC of the April month and also the series VWAP. Series VWAP will be an important reference because it's a neutral extreme profile. The last time we had a neutral extreme profile was in December 2024. This was a neutral extreme profile to the downside, and the series VWAP of this neutral extreme profile was at 24193. And you can see how this has been uh, proving as a supply point. We left a small responsive selling tail in January right there, and then we probe lower. Even the last week, the first time we tested this, we stalled right at the 24194 level. The high of Monday was right there. So that was telling us how this neutral extreme profile still carries importance even after 3 months are over. In fact, this is the 4th month. So the series VWAP of April, once we finalize that at close on Wednesday, would be a very important reference going forward. And the POC will dictate how the start of the month of May, the calendar month of May, would be, whether it is bullish or bearish. And we have already discussed the probable upside targets. It would be this December monthly POC, which has not been visited, 24621. That is the immediate objective on the upside. If we are able to stay below this rollover point, and above that we are looking for a probe into this October and September profiles of Nifty spot. So this is as far as the upside is concerned in the spot on the monthly time frame. On the downside, if we are not able to sustain above the rollover point, then we will look at the references which we leave on the monthly. So this low of uh, Thursday of last Friday will be one important reference, because you can see on the monthly chart we have a zone of singles over here. I'll come to the weekly chart and we'll see how on the weekly chart we left that lows at an important reference. So this is as far as the monthly time frame of Nifty spot is concerned. It is a bullish profile because we left a tail at lows, a long tail at lows, and we have gone on to uh, climb above the last 3 month highs. In fact, we are uh, currently around the highs of 2025. We have taken out the January 2nd swing high, and we are making new highs of 2025. So let's see, we have made similar highs around the 24,350 zone for the last 4-5 sessions. So 24,365 was the high on Friday. We had a similar high today. So once that is taken out, then we can look for this 300-point up move in one session, and then what will happen here will dictate the next leg. So this is as far as the Nifty spot is concerned. Let's now move on to the Bank Nifty spot. Bank Nifty spot is a very elongated profile. So I'll just come down with the TPO size so that we can get the entire month's profile in one screen. So you can see this profile, we've got a tail. This is a responsive buying tail. Even Bank Nifty has been a neutral extreme profile to the upside on the monthly time frame. This buying tail is there. This is a responsive one. We have on the monthly, which was at 52064, and we have taken out the December VWAP and the VPOC, which unvisited VPOC, and now we are trading at new all-time highs. Once this was taken out last Monday, we saw a melt up. This was uncharted territory, so we made new highs of 800 in spot. Sorry, 56098 was the swing high in spot. I'll come to the weekly chart where we'll discuss how it showed us long liquidation coming in. But coming back to the monthly time frame, POC shifting to the upper part. So 55353 is the POC in monthly spot, which is where the rollover point of this series is. So similar kind of a thing is happening in Nifty spot also. So this will become the base for what action happens in May, at least for the first half. So we will have this as the reference because it is the monthly POC plus the rollover point. So from here, if we are getting a move away, that will give us the first swing setup in May, and then maybe after the first impulse is done, we may get a retracement back and a reversal or a balance and a continuation. So the levels in Bank Nifty also would be similar. We will have to mark out the VWAP of this month, which will be the neutral extreme VWAP. The POC, as I mentioned, would be near the top, near the rollover point, and then we have this big zone of singles. The first zone of single was tested, and we have taken support there. And then we have this another big zone of singles, 54,180 to this extension handle of 51880, which was incidentally the rollover point for the April series. So we Bank Nifty is definitely looking bullish, but we will have to sustain about the monthly POC for more upside in the coming month. So we'll update the monthly references once the calendar month is over, and we'll also come out with a monthly report, just like what we do with the weekly time frame, and we'll have all the important references marked in that. So yes, initial balance is a concept mainly traded for the intraday time frame, and intraday time frame we have the initial balance for the first hour. On a similar basis, market profile, the concepts of market profile work on all time frames. So what we take as the initial balance as 1 hour for the intraday time frame, the same initial balance for the weekly time frame we take it as 5 hours, or it could be the range of Monday. And the same thing if it extended on the monthly, then we take it as the first 4 sessions or the 22 hours. So that is how we form the initial balance on the higher time frame. So that is how we can make out. And why do we mark this? Because we get to know how the auction is behaving after the first balance is done by the buyers and the sellers. So this is how we treat the monthly and the weekly profile also. So let's come to the weekly report of last week and see what we did in Nifty spot. So you have the unmerged chart of the 5 days of Nifty spot on screen. So we opened up higher and we left this initiative buying tail. So it was a bullish chart, and before that we already had the PLR marked to the upside. The week prior to last week, the weekly profile was a double distribution trend up one, initiative buying tail was there, and we had a zone of DD singles from 22761. So support, this will be the support zone going forward, and we'll need to get accepted above the HVN of 23855. So this 23855 was a very important reference for us, not just last week, even now. So what we did last week, we opened well above this 23855. So because we opened above this, we were looking for a tag of this weekly extension handle of 23910, 24054, and then we had this important supply zone marked from 24143 to 24196, which I showed on the monthly chart, which was also the responsive selling tail of Jan plus the December neutral extreme VWAP series VWAP. So if we are able to take these supply zone out, then we were looking for a tag of this 24601 extension handle on the weekly time frame. So what we have done last week, we opened gap up, we stayed above the 23855, and then we continued to probe higher. But on 23rd, you can see the gap up opened but could not extend. It was the first time in many sessions where the initial balance was not extended to the upside. So that was giving us a sign that the buying is stalling, or the demand is coming off. And what we did was we made a attempt to probe lower, but we left a responsive buying tail. So it was telling us that the supply is demand is coming off at the highs, but there is some demand defending in this zone. So the Thursday expiry was a very narrow range one, completely controlled by the option writers, which gave us a 2-day POC at 24249. So from there on Friday, it became a free bird. So what we saw, the higher open again did not get demand. So the sellers came in, they swiped through the entire week's range, and they formed this long liquidation V-shaped profile. So these lows was right at that HVN of 23855, which we had discussed, which was mentioned in the weekly report. So what did we do there? The market profile chart gives us a clear indication of whether a reference is being rejected or accepted. Acceptance means we will remain in that value. Rejection means we leave a tail, because this A period selling tail is telling us this zone is got rejected. So what we got in the F period on Friday was a small rejection at that HVN of 23855. So that is where we got to know that this place is still held by the buyers. And what we did was we closed as a B-shaped profile, and on the weekly time frame, you can see how we have formed a nice balance. So this is a neutral profile which we had last week, because we opened and probed higher. We went on to get above the first 5 hour highs, but we again stalled at that 24350 level. Then on Friday we went on to break the lows of Monday. So the weekly initial balance was broken on both ends, and we closed in the middle. So not in the middle in the sense inside the initial balance. So value wise, we formed higher value, but the close was well below the value area. The weekly profile was a well balanced one. So we have that posted well balanced neutral one with completely higher value, and it started with a couple of initiative buying tails as demand was stronger, but higher levels around the 24350 saw supply coming back, as seen in the hat trick of A period selling tail. So we give lot of importance to the singles of which come in the first TPO of the day, the A period. So as long as we are getting A period buying tails, the bias would be on the upside. But if we are getting back to back A period selling tails, we know that the structure is changed, and now we need to look for the downside. So what what we had was completed overlapping entire week. So Fridays completely overlapped the entire week's range, and we closed below the weekly value. So the PLR for the coming week would be to the downside, with 23879 being the first support. So below this, we were looking for a test of that DD singles, which we had mentioned. So what happened today? These were the hypos for today. The bullish hypo was 24054. So let's open up today's chart and see what we have done today. So there is a repeated question about the weekly initial balance. For spot, it'll be the Monday 9:15 to 2:15 slot. For futures, it'll be the Friday in, and it'll be the first 5 hours of that particular session. So keep the questions about the order flow once we come to that. Let us finish with the spot, and then we'll move on to the order flow chart. So what we have done in spot on the weekly time frame, you can see how we have opened higher higher. The close was at this level, 24039. We opened higher and we got into this weekly value. So we have something called as the 80% rule in market profile, which is a very important concept. So whenever we have a nice balanced value area and the auction comes back into that, there is 80% chance of it completing the uh, travel from value area low to value area high. So these and other concepts like the weekly initial balance and the monthly initial balance, I can put it in simple terms here, but they are more on the advanced side. So what we do at VMR is we have a uh, detailed view of each of this concept, and we explain and we discuss them in detail in live market whenever they are happening. So if you are interested in getting more and more well versed with these on all time frames, it'll be best you join the VMR and you'll be aware about this, because initial balance is something which is only traded in the intraday time frame in the books, in the theory part. This weekly and monthly initial balance is something which we at the VMR have developed over a period of time by observing that cycles. So coming back to the weekly chart, what we did was we opened higher, and you saw that in the hypo we were above the first bullish hypo, and we once we got back into this weekly value, we had a very good chance of completing the 80% rule, because this is a nice balanced profile. So we went on to complete the 80% rule. We went on to tag the value area high. We, in fact, in the audio session at VMR today at 10:15, we had this setup discussed. We were only halfway through till then. We were very confident that we are going to hit 24329 in spot, and we are looking to take CE long trades, and we also did that. So that is what we have done today. We have done the 80% rule, and as we always speak on the weekly spot charts, above the POC we are bullish, below it we are bearish. So we have left an AP rate buying tail at previous week's POC, and we have closed around the highs. But yes, as seen in the monthly chart, we are near the rollover point, and the POC of the April series is mainly looking to shift to this 24350 level. So we will have to sustain about this for more upside in the coming sessions. So that is as far as the weekly Nifty spot chart is concerned. Coming back to the weekly report and having a look at the monthly Bank Nifty profile. Bank Nifty also started with a bang last week. On Monday, you can see, just to run through the brief of what the previous week closed as. It was an elongated 2500 point range trend up one, and we close around the all-time high. So we have only clear skies above it, with immediate support being the 54,000 to 53,000 for the coming week. So what we did in the week last week was, on Monday we opened well above this. We had a 600 point gap up, and we got an initiative buying tail. And because it was uncharted territory, we went on to make new highs of 55,400, and then the next day also we saw a similar A period buying tail and new highs. But both these profiles were not giving too much confidence about upside. Why? Because these were P-shaped profiles. P-shaped profiles are short covering profiles. So it was telling us, because the auction is trading at new all-time highs, whatever supply was left in the system is being forced out. We were not seeing any initiative initial balance in the first hour. So you can see how we formed a P-shaped profile. And finally, on 23rd, when we opened those at those new all-time highs of 56098, we left an open is equal to highs chart, and it got rejected. And this was an open rejection start, or open rejection reverse chart, and it came at new highs. So it was a special case where it swiped through previous range value and range. It swiped through previous value and range and formed this B-shaped profile. And what happened in the next session was, it made an attempt to move higher, but it got stalled right at this extension handle from 23rd, and it formed an overlapping B-shaped profile again. So here it formed this important POC, the 2-day POC was at 55350, and this is where the monthly POC is also shifted, and that is where the rollover point also of May series was fixed. So from there on Friday, we saw a move away. We saw another strong open. This was also an open rejection reverse to the downside. But again, just like what we saw in Nifty spot, we saw the HVN of 23855 being supported. Same thing in Bank Nifty, you can see this zone of singles in the weekly profile. It tested this zone of singles. 5182 I think was the base of the singles, and 54169 I think was the low we made on last Friday. So we saw rejection over there and we formed a B-shaped profile. So even in Bank Nifty, what we were looking for it this week was neutral extreme to the downside has similar tails at both extremes. So you can see how we have a small selling tail at the top and a small responsive buying tail at the bottom. Both of these are singles and we have a neutral extreme profile. But what you can see from the weekly chart is we have a ultra prominent POC. You have so many TPOs aligned at this zone, so it becomes a magnet. So we were expecting. And in Nifty we closed below value, but in Bank Nifty we were inside the value. So we were expecting it to get attracted back to the magnet of 55353 in the coming week. And if demand comes here, we can continue higher. Or if this gets rejected, then we can look to test that support zone of last week from 53,800 to 54,000. So these were our hypos for today, and just let's have a quick look at what the Bank Nifty spot has done today. So a quick announcement which is already been made in the text chat. Those who are interested can surely use this offer and use the discount to either join in the Vtrender reduced price. So coming to the So even in Bank Nifty, you can see we had a higher open, slightly higher open. We remained below the POC of last Friday. So that was a bullish start, and we went on to get to this magnet. And what we have done here is we've again formed a balance around this prominent POC, which is also the rollover point. So this remains an important reference, and we will use this to fresh impulse. Else, Bank Nifty can continue to fill this profile before it gives us a move away in May. So that is as far as the spot is concerned. Let us now move on to the futures chart. Let's start with the Nifty futures profile chart. And window concept which we have and which we make use of it, and what are the combinations you can have when you're using the two window mode. So we use market profile and order flow at VMR. Market profile helps us to understand the structure. Order flow tells us how the supply and demand are matched. So what we do is we have the market profile on the left, and you can switch to the two window mode by clicking on this icon which you have on the right hand side. Two window, you have a three window, four window mode, you have three vertical columns, and then you have the six window mode. So switch to the two window mode, and I have got the market profile chart on the left of the May series, and on the right I have a continuous Nifty futures. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to shift this to the order flow chart, which I can do by clicking the bottom icon on the right. So in this combination which we have the look at volumes to arrive at the open type, and when do we know which is a drive. So the open type needs to be decided in the first 15 minutes. Most of the days it is very clear in the first 15 minutes. On rare occasions first 30 minutes you can get a fresh signal after the first 15 minutes are over. So but most of the days the first 15 minutes are good enough. So what I have done is I have moved the right side to 15 minutes and we have the market profile. So what you see structure wise on the left, where have we opened compared to previous sessions, value and range. So POC is the most important uh, part in market profile. Why? Because it has the highest volumes. So that is why we give lot of importance to the uh, volumes. POC. So above the POC we are bullish, below the POC we are bearish. So what we do is we have the market profile, we see where it has opened, and you can see at the open we have opened above the POC. The order flow is showing us 15,000 contracts of the opening bar. This is the first 15 minutes bar. The first 15-minute average or the last 15 days is around same 16 17,000. So it's an average chart. One more thing which you can do to know whether the volumes are good or not is the speedometer which we have. The speedometer, if it is above 100, that means it is higher than the average volumes. If it is below 100, it's below average, and this lower scale around 50 is it is half of the volumes. What the speedometer is showing now is the end of the day volumes. The speedometer will show the volume depending on the time frame. So at the open, if the volumes were above average, the speedometer would have been above 100. So that is telling you the volume is good. So if you are getting a move away structure wise and the volumes are better than average or at least average, you know that you can get a good move away. So in the opening order flow chart, we don't have any volumes below this POC. So that is telling us that there is no supply and the PLR is now to the upside. So what we do is after the first 15 minutes is done, you can take the POC of this. Here you did see some sellers trying to come back, but they could not hold, and the next 15-minute bar took out all those sellers. And here you can see the cot turning green. And even in fact, on Friday after the drop, we got green caught into the close. So it was not a surprise that we opened higher and we went on to continue that move today. So here, once we have seen this and analyze the open type, you know you have left a initiative buying tail. So the PLR will be to the upside. You can change this order flow time frame to 30 minutes when the open type is confirmed, and then you can look at what the 30-minute time frame is telling you. It made this pullback low in this 11:15 bar, which is the E period. And here again, what we have done at the VWAP, we have got no supply. So that is telling us there is more upside which is coming in. And here what it was doing, it was getting accepted in this initiative selling tail. So we did not get much of sell side signals in the first part of the day, and whatever reds we were getting were mostly profit booking which was coming in. You can see the cot was green, and here in the 11:15 bar it slightly turned red, but this was more of profit booking. But here at now we need to be little bit careful with the longs, because we are getting good red caught now along with big reds. So this RS bar of 1245 held, and then we've got this IS30. So when you get RS bars, it is telling you that the longs are booking out, and the POC also shifted to the top. So that is a clear sign that you need to book out, but that is not a sign to go short. To go short, we will wait for a IS signal, and this IS signal came, but it did not get activated. And you can see the lows of this. We had got this big seller right at the rollover point. We had discussed about how the rollover point was at 24378, and in the B period today, we saw A period today, we saw a big seller trying to come at that rollover point, but he was not able to even break VWAP. So when the auction is above VWAP, no, we know that the buyer is in control. If the seller is not doing a good job right at that place. So the reason we were not able to break that rollover point, and we got a zero below this IS. You can see the zero on the sell side even in this 30-minute bar. Even on this 30-minute bar, there is a zero on the sell side. So IS signals are very good signals, but for them to get activated, you will need volumes to come in below the IS lows. So here we needed to get supply at that rollover point. That would have given us a good move lower, but that did not happen today. So that is the reason we went on to get back to the POC. We saw how we got attracted to that weekly POC in Bank Nifty spot. Similarly, because there was no supply here, Nifty futures came back to close at this POC of the day. And this will be our reference for tomorrow. This will act as a magnet till the time we don't get an initiative move away from here. So this is one way of looking at the market profile and the order flow chart in this two window mode. You can use this two window mode in multiple scenes, because market profile is something which you need, which will develop over 30 minutes. So it's a 30-minute time frame. So you don't need to keep watching it all the time. So what you can do is you can either have the 30-minute order flow at one side, you can have the line chart on one side. So this is the two window mode, and what we'll do on the left hand, we'll have the order flow chart, and on the right hand we have a symbol at the bottom. You can switch it to the order flow, you can switch it to the market profile, and you can switch it to the line chart. So I switch it to the line chart. So I'm again doing the same exercise. I'm going to the order flow chart on the left, and even in the order flow you can have the 30 minutes and the 3-minute combination to have the buy coming on the 3-minute time frame. So you can see how we have the 30 minutes on the left and the 3-minute on the right. So once we have a bias which is developed, you can look for shorter time frame IB or IS signals to trade in the bigger time frame bias. So that helps us to be in sync with the bigger time frame. So another way to go for this is have the line chart, and then you can shift. And Yes, we have the live info box which is there. You can just click on the profile, display info panel, and you have all the volumes marked in this panel. You have the initial balance high, initial balance low. You have the volumes which have come in the initial balance. You have the ATR IB volumes are 40,000 contracts. You can see they are above average or below average. Here you can see it is 192%, and then you can see each TPO how the volumes are and how they average wise the 5-day average they are how they are placed as per the 5-day average and how they are placed as per the 14-day average. So this information is there in that right when you right click on the profile you have this display info in the right panel, and you when you want you can close this box, and whenever you want you can just get this box. So this has all the volume marked up. This also gives you the ATR levels, and it will tell you based on the last 5 days and 14 days how the volumes are shaping up. So coming back to this, p- so I'm not sure why we are having issues loading the line chart. Okay, so what I've done, I have got this NTM volume X chart of Nifty, and here I click on this two window mode. So I already have the NTM volume X chart on one side of the two window mode. On the other side, I can change this to what I want. So let me go to the order flow chart. I either choose to have the Nifty futures order flow chart, or if you are trading in options, you can look to trade the order flow of that particular option. So what I've done, I've put in the 23,900 call chart, and I'll just quickly show you one way you can use this. So this is today's volume X chart, and you can see how at the open both were very close to each other, and you can see this time around 9:27 is where the call volume started to diverge. You can see this swipe on the up. So you what you can do is at the same time you can keep watching what the call is doing, and if you're getting any signal in the call. So I'm just shifting this to the open of today, and you can see how at the open we got this IS bar IS3. This is a 3-minute order flow on the left, and we have the we have 3-minute order flow of the option of the call on the left, and the option volume X on the right. So what do we want to do with long options, long calls, when we are seeing the call volumes are diverging on the upside and the call put volumes are lower? So here, and we look for signals in that direction. So what we did here, we formed this IS3 which did not get triggered because we did not break the low of this, and at 9:27 we got this signal in the volume X chart that the call volumes are diverging. And right at that 9:47 9:27 you can see how we have got this order flow with zeros, green bar at VWAP with zeros in the middle. So zeros in the middle, when you're getting zeros in a green bar, the start of the zeros become your support. So this 310 level, which was the POC before, an RS POC before, was showing us change of polarity. So when you are seeing in one side the call volumes are diverging to the upside, this is a very low risk trade which you can take. When you got this green bar, you can take a long around this 328 level. Your stop loss would be this 310, and this continued to diverge up. So you can look to book position and trail to cost. So, and after this, I just like how the IS3 did not get triggered, even this IB3 did not get triggered because we did not get above this 395. But then we had the call volumes diverging, and what we did in this dip, once we broke below this, you can see how we have defended the VWAP. At VWAP, we have got an RB bar. So that is telling us more upside is there in this call. And when you are seeing these two charts together, it makes sense and they are supporting each other. So because the call volumes are diverging and you are getting the same signal, a bullish signal in the call long also. You can adopt this two window mode for any combination. You can have the profile chart on the left, order flow on the right. You can have the market profile on the left and line chart on the right. You can have the order flow chart on the left and option in the money option chart on the right. So that helps you to remain in sync with what is happening. So I'll just quickly move to the order flow chart of futures and the order flow chart of the option. So the main signal we track is that of the futures. Futures, if you're getting a signal, most of the time even the option will give you the move. But sometimes you get the move only in signals only in options. But if the signal is coming only in options and you're not getting a complementary signal in the futures, there is a chance that the move may die out soon. So you need to be careful about holding such trades. The best trades would be where you're getting identical signals in both futures and options. So those will be the best trades which will give you higher range. So here you can have the 30-minute order flow of futures on one side and the option on the other side. And you can see how the respective references of the futures will give similar cues in the option also. So here we went on to get this IS30. So we will wait for this IS30 to get activated tomorrow. If we get supply below this, then with this as our high, we look for more downside. So this is how you make use of this two window mode. You can also have market profile and order flow, market profile and line. And we also have this powerful 6 window mode, but this is for people who have big screens. What you can do in the 6 window mode is on the top, you can have the calls, 3 calls. One would be at the money, one would be in the money, and one would be out of the money. So for example, we closed at 24 300. So have the 24 200 call, and it is advisable to use the monthly options of this, because now we I'm just using the 30th April one for an example, and you can have the 30-minute time frame. You can take this off. You also have the option of taking off this table at the bottom. So what this gives you is it shows you the signals which are coming in. So I have the 24 200 call. I'll put the at the money 24 300 call in the middle. 24 200 is in the money, and this is at the money, and I'll have one out of money call, which would be the 24 400 one. So if you are an option writer, or if you're looking at swing positions and you want to see what the broader market is looking, what is happening on multiple option legs, this is a very good way of using this 6 window mode and just switching all of them to the 30-minute time frame. So what this will tell you is, so you can so clearly see we are getting IS30 signals in all the calls. So that is telling us to come out of longs, not hold any longs. In the bottom panel, I'm going to put similar puts. So 24 100 would be our first put. Sorry, 24,500 would be our first put. So we also have the spectrum range which is there. You can also decide on based on where the gamma zero is. That will be your in the money option. So 24,300 is where I think the gamma zero is. So 24,300 would be our uh, slightly out of money call, and I'll just switch all of them to the 30-minute time frames. So how does this help us? How does this 6 window mode help us? So you can see how in the calls we are looking at IS30s being formed, and in the put, in the 24,600 put, we can see there is one IB30 which is formed but it is not triggered. So these gives us references when you are getting a trending move. This will tell you whether you need to get into the trade, and this will also tell you, help you being in sync with when you need to keep changing your option strike price. So when the base is shifting, because that will mean the spectrum is also changing, expanding or contracting, depending on how the signals are coming in the respective options. So here now you know on the calls 24,200 is all showing a IS30. Even the 24,300 call is showing an IS30. So 24,100 call, which is uh, deep in the money call, is not giving an IS. So what is this telling? Outer the slightly in the money calls are getting sold. Option writers are using it to sell them and to take in the premium, because we have a shortened week this time. We only have a 3-day settlement. Wednesday is the settlement because of the holiday on Thursday. So this 6 window mode will keep you in sync with where the activity is happening and where the volumes are coming in, where are the signals coming in. You will definitely not want to go long in an option which is showing you an IS30 bar, and if that option breaks VWAP, it becomes a short candidate. Same thing, and when you see a IS30 on the call and the respective put gives you an IB30, you know that now the market is in a uh, direction of short put longs or short side. These signals, when you combine with the volume X chart, will definitely keep you in sync with what the market is doing. So you will not take any random trades, or you will not do any rookie mistakes, because this is keeping you in sync with where the volumes are coming, where the signals are coming, whether the volume X chart is supporting the move or not. So this is how you can use these features. You have these features on the right hand side bar, and very useful. Depending on the screen size you have, you can have the 4 window mode, but the 2 window mode is the most used by all of us at VMR, because that gives us very clean signals. So that is it from my side for today, guys. Hope this session was helpful. You can please write your feedback to us. My Twitter ID is open. You can DM me on Twitter in case you have any queries. You can also mail us at support@vtrender.com. and please come up with your queries whenever we have these sessions. We want these sessions to be as interactive as they can be. So we have an offer running in. We already have announced that. So we can make use of this and accordingly extend or come into the Vtrender plans. Monthly initial balance is 22 hours. So you can please calculate that. For more advanced thing, it is better you come into the VMR, because these things will keep changing, and we will need to be in sync with that. We do discuss about the monthly and the weekly FAs at the VMR more extensively, because we have the information there, and according to that we keep trading them, because there is no point marking a monthly FA and not getting any trade benefits out of it. So thank you guys for joining in, and have a great week ahead with the weekly settlement of April 30th. Let's then see what comes in for the month of May. Signing off for now, and have a great evening.